Howdy, assholes! Are you 13? Are you? Well, let me tell you something. If you're 13 years old or older, sit back, grab yourself some popcorn, enjoy the show. You're allowed to stay. But if you're not 13, get the fuck out. Right now. This show is not for you. It is not for children. It is for adults and young adults, and you should go ask your parents why they suck at their job because they're letting YouTube raise their kid. So yeah, go do that. Come back when you're 13. Enough said.
Ladies and gentlemen, every day all around us there is a constant battle. A battle of good and evil. Both sides will have victories. Both sides will have losses. But every now and again, there is an overwhelming victory for one side. And today, we take a look at a film that is an overwhelming victory for the forces that try to keep peace within our world. That film is 1964's Mothra vs. Godzilla. A fan favorite of the franchise. And actually, even though this film and the next are not actually my favorites, I personally believe that this film and the one that comes tomorrow are easily some of the best things that ever happened to the Godzilla franchise. Why? Well, let's get into it. So there we go, Noah. Are you ready to cover the first movie, or not the first movie, the last movie of the Showa series that actually depicts Godzilla as a villain? Mothra vs. Godzilla.
Whoa! I see the twins.
Yeah, in your little poster, I get that. Godzilla versus Mothra, or no, God, Mothra versus Godzilla. Sorry. This
Just
movie.
You're just so used to saying Godzilla first.
Well, yeah, I'm used to it. After all, he is my favorite superhero. But Mothra versus Godzilla. I, for one, am really excited to cover this movie, and the next movie, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but more on that later. What are you more excited about, Noah, this movie or the next?
I'd say the next, because I really enjoyed the second one. Well, Ghidorah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ghidorah is one of Godzilla's most iconic, foes that he's ever faced. And Mothra is easily one of Godzilla's most iconic and recognized characters in his franchise, even though initially Mothra was not owned by Toho. Wait, was she owned by Toho?
I think she was in her own movie. They just
I'll have to look that up. So yeah, Noah, let's go ahead and jump into the background of this movie. Once again, returning director Ishiro Honda, which automatically lets you know that considering this is an original era Godzilla film, it's gonna be at least decent, probably good. And also, once again, Haruo Nakajima and Katsumi Tezuka both come to Toho again. This time, however, they are both in the Godzilla suit because Mothra was portrayed via puppets and shit. And we're gonna get to that in a minute because this movie and the Mothra movie, which unfortunately we're not gonna cover, they are some of the highlights for one of the most important pieces of cast that are actually in the early Godzilla movies. We will talk about him later.
For the cast, we have Akira Takarada as Ichiro Sakai, Riko Hoshi as Junko Nakanishi. Interesting name.
Yep.
Kelsey Noizumi as Professor Shunsuke Miura. It's like Miura.
Okay.
Yufuji as Hiro Nakamura. Emi and Yumi as the fairy twins. Am I right? Yep. As the Shobujin. Yoshifumi Chahima as Umuyama. That I list the last four that are listed here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you listed all the important ones, but go ahead and do it if you want. Well, we got Akira Tani as Amimoto, the village leader. Got it, sold the egg, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Ikyo Sawamura as Enoshi.
And now we saw.
And whilst you actually mentioned that, let's go ahead and talk about what I feel is one of the highlights of this film, Eiji Tsuburaya's usage of practical effects. Okay, let's talk about this. First off, Eiji Tsuburaya. He was one of the most integral parts of the original Mothra film, as obviously because Mothra was portrayed via puppets and like little models and shit. And Eiji Tsuburaya also returns for this film, and if you ask me, I think the puppets and everything that he designed for Mothra and the performance that these puppets are used for are spot on. I absolutely not adore, but I do thoroughly enjoy watching the monsters' interactions, at least most of the time. We'll get to that later. And yeah, I really like the way that Mothra is portrayed in this film, as well as her two little children. And now, as for the names of the film, yes. Noah, do you want to list the names? Or you know what? No, you already list the cast. You already list the cast members, so I'm gonna go ahead and list or not list the names, but I'm gonna talk about the name issue that this film has. Once again, this film has a number of different names, from Mothra versus Godzilla, all the way to Godzilla versus the Thing.
What's the thing?
Yes, that fight, Godzilla versus the Thing, did happen, but it was in comic books and not movies. And another thing, Mothra is as far from the Thing as you'll ever get. Alright? The Thing is a freaking rock man that basically fights like the Hulk does and just breaks a lot of shit. Mothra is an island goddess deity that is capable of a great many feats. I'm not saying that the Thing is like weak or anything, but Mothra is literally an island goddess who is capable of going toe-to-toe with some of the strongest monsters in the Godzilla franchise. They are two polar opposites, and how the hell Godzilla versus the Thing ever got brought up astounds me.
I think it's because of the fact that Mothra is a moth, and moths are sometimes interpreted as a bug for people.
Yeah.
Even though, as you said, the Thing, it ain't a fucking bug.
Right? Yep, exactly. I mean, I would like to give them some credit, somewhat, in the hopes that maybe they were trying to promote the comics, but the fact of the matter is there's no evidence to back that up, so I can't really say that they did that. All I can really say at this point was that it was just a shitty design choice to rename it. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Can't say much there.
Yeah. Anyways, as for the making of the film, it's one of the most simple synopsises I'm ever gonna give, in this Godzillathon. Mothra vs. Godzilla was inspired by the success of King Kong vs. Godzilla, where Toho saw, the results of, two of the most iconic movie monsters ever going toe-to-toe in a fight. And so they decided to pit Godzilla against another extremely popular kaiju, who was very big in Japan at the time, Mothra, the goddess of Infant Island.
AKA the female representation of the kaiju.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. There's not a lot of female kaiju, but I do think that Mothra is easily one of the most powerful and coolest. A lot of people don't think she's, like, menacing or anything, but, to be fair, they have a point until later movies.
Yeah. But we can say that the show Mothra does look more alive than the Heisei one.
Yes.
Yeah, the Heisei has.
Oh my god.
wings.
Oh, now you got me dreading that movie. You got me dreading that movie.
She has wings. She has wings, man. The fuck?
It literally, you know what? We're gonna cover that in that movie. So, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about the good Mothra vs. Godzilla movie. Spoilers, by the way, that movie is... Shit, I wish I could say it was bad, but it's not. Alright, anyways, we got the synopsis already covered. Let's go ahead and talk about the movie. Alright, so Mothra vs. Godzilla 1964. The plot follows Ichiro Sakai, however the hell Noah said it, Junko Nakanishi, and Professor Miura after a giant egg washes ashore in Japan. Or on the basically off the coast of Japan near a small village, and the villagers end up bringing it ashore. And yeah, unfortunately, the villagers actually sell the egg to a corrupt businessman who wants to make money off of it. So now our protagonist must try and return Mothra's egg despite businessman Kumiyama, the main villain of the film, wanting to make a profit off of it in any way he wants, and he doesn't happen to care what happens because, as the show begin warned them, the egg, once it hatches, the Mothra twin, or they didn't know it was twins, the Mothra embryo will come forth, and on its hunt for food, it will cause mass destruction and chaos. And after that, the plans of our protagonists and antagonists actually sway and get all kinds of fucked up when Godzilla appears and starts making his way towards Mothra's egg, putting both our protagonists and antagonists in jeopardy. So yeah, now Mothra must be summoned to Japan so she can fight the giant monster and protect her children.
I forgot to include the fact that Godzilla was taking a nap under some people working. He just grows out of the dirt.
No, well, I mean, yeah, I was planning on showing footage of that. Yeah, Godzilla makes easily one of his most intriguing appearances in this movie. He rises up from the ground. Literally, like, was he trying to cosplay as Baragon?
I mean, I know that in GMK he had a female actor, which was quite cute, actually. Damn, man, this is a show era.
Dude, the show era is filled with so much weird shit, it's not even funny. And yeah, not only does he rise out from underneath the ground, but, I mean, while we're already talking about it, we can talk about the human shit later. Let's talk about the monsters in this film, alright? First things first, the Godzilla suit. Noah, what's your thoughts on the Godzilla suit of this film?
Well, look, in my eyes, it's really just a slimmed down version of the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie, while also, well, yeah.
Well, to be fair, the King Kong vs. Godzilla suit was pretty damn good. And in some aspects, I can see where you're coming from that. Me personally, I say that the 1964 Godzilla suit is the best out of the whole Showa series. Many people do disagree with me on that, to be fair, but it's my personal preference. Unfortunately, I can't really say that other opinions are wrong, because there are very few Godzilla suits in the Showa era that are actually, like, bad. Don't worry, we'll cover those later.
Son of Godzilla flashbacks.
Jesus Christ. Okay, let's focus on this movie before I have an aneurysm, please. I really don't want to think of that abomination. What's worse is we have to cover it on this Godzillathon later.
Yeah.
Back to the monsters, though. I personally, despite the fact that, be warned, the fight scenes between Mothra and Godzilla, there are some scenes where the camera's all stupid up close and freaking, you can barely see what's going on the camera. And there are just some scenes where it's literally just Godzilla and Mothra in the same shot, and you can barely tell what's going on as it looks like they're just having a slap fight, and it just looks like the dumbest thing ever. But, all things considered, for the parts of the battles where you can actually tell what's going on, and for the scenes when Godzilla's tearing apart Osaka, I'm assuming, I'm gonna say this, so far the best in this series. I really liked the effects for Godzilla and Mothra in this film, and I can't really deny how I feel about that. They just look so damn good on screen.
Yeah, you got that right. One of the show movies that will actually make us feel like, well, not feel, but you know, be highly entertained by the fights.
Yeah. And also, we need to talk about Godzilla. The way Godzilla is portrayed is both good and somewhat bad. During the first scene where Godzilla's attacking the city, Godzilla is clumsy as shit, and I know that it's because the actor's head is inside of the neck, but it's just watching Godzilla get his tail stuck in a tower and watching him frickin' stumble into the frickin' Osaka castle, the pagoda. Honestly, that was a little funny for me, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of think that this may have somewhat inspired some of the goofier moments of the Godzilla series going forward. Maybe not directly impacted it, but at least inspired it. And as for how strong and, like, indestructible Godzilla is in this film, holy shit, Noah, do you want to take it from here, or do I?
Well, before we continue on, I have another name for that scene.
Oh no.
Godzilla.
Go home, Go home, Godzilla, you're drunk. I mean...
Godzilla!
Oh god. Okay, keep that gif up. That's actually funny as shit. Yeah.
Godzilla.
Oh god. I love my life. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So yeah, anyways, Noah, do you want to talk, like I asked before, Noah, do you want to talk about how just indestructible Godzilla is in this movie, or do you still want me to?
Well, let me just give a word. The only way he was even beaten was that he was sent home.
Yeah, it literally had to take an island deity to beat him. Godzilla in this movie is, oh my god. It was implied that Godzilla was indestructible in the prior films, but they really make an honest effort to make it seem like he's just this unstoppable force of nature in this film. They literally throw every single thing that they could think of to put in this movie at the King of the Monsters. They start off small with the stereotypical tanks and jets and shit, but then they really start picking up the ante, where they literally have giant towers that can shoot concentrated lasers of electricity at Godzilla, and he just sits there, and at first it's like, okay, this is something new, that kind of stings, but then he just walks forward and just demolishes the tower, and it's like, yeah, that's a slap in the face to King Kong versus Godzilla, first off. And second off, just the fact that once that works, They even try dropping nets on top of Godzilla that electrify him, and all sorts of shit in this movie. And hell, even in the American re-edit, which, thank God they didn't change much, but even in the American re-edit, Godzilla, like, literally just walked along the shore of Japan and got bombarded by an absolute freaking barrage of missile and torpedo fire from an American U.S. war Navy fleet. And not even that stopped him.
Yeah. They definitely, they definitely highlighted the God part in his name.
Yeah. And also, that kind of brings up some awesome little, like, accidents in this film. We're gonna see it a few times later, but Noah, you saw that scene where the Godzilla suit accidentally caught on fire, right?
I remember it slightly. The main thing I remember from this movie is Drungzilla.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in all seriousness, though, they literally accidentally caught the Godzilla suit on fire, and the actor inside wasn't hurt. I couldn't actually find which actor was wearing the suit at the time of this particular incident, but Godzilla was still treated pretty damn well in this movie, and for an accident, I think it was a pretty damn cool one, and the suit itself, surprisingly, wasn't damaged that much after this incident.
The suit to portray a raging titan that basically has the power of God has to be a suit that can take a hit. Or in this case, a fucking NG Endeavor. Or whatever however the fuck you say it. I'm gonna keep calling him the Pokemon.
Oh god. Okay.
Make sure you say his name.
I'm not gonna try. I'm not really a fan of Pokemon. But not only is Godzilla portrayed in an awesome way in this film, the Mothra puppets in this film are absolutely fun to watch, man. Me personally, I think this movie in some ways stands up to today's standards of filmmaking, and that is in no small part due to the fact that the monsters are just so well done. The Mothra puppets themselves, like, they obviously don't look lifelike, but just take a look at some of these things. They look amazing for the time period, and not only that, but the way they move around and the way they interact with Godzilla himself, that's just, like, it's just fun to watch at times. And is it just me, or is the fight at the end of the movie between Godzilla and the two Mothra larvae a lot easier to watch than the fight between Godzilla and the adult?
Yeah, it kind of was, because you can actually somewhat keep track of what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, you can
like,
see more than miscellaneous blobs in front of the screen.
And we can actually easily see the Mothra larva twins giving Godzilla a new set of clothing.
Yeah. I don't actually know, dude. I mean, the final fight of this film was entertaining, but shouldn't the Mothra twins have ran away? I mean, I get it, they wanted revenge for the death of their mother, but I mean, just the fact that they followed Godzilla all the way to a nearby island in order to, like, go and attack him, I think that there might be something there where the Mothra twins actually thought that, we gotta do something about this. Our mother wouldn't have backed down, so we can't back down.
True. And plus, they are Mothras.
Yeah.
So that could have had something to do with it.
Oh, yeah. Mothra does retain her memories every time she reincarnates, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, she got angry. Okay. Okay. That's fair. And yeah.
Wait. That begs a question. If twins hatch, will both of them get the memories? And just...
We never actually got that answered, which pisses me off, considering the next movie, one of the larvas is dead before the movie even begins. Unfortunately.
Like, what the hell happened, man? I want answers.
Alright. So that's the monsters taken care of. Now let's talk about the human characters. Is it bad that I think the main villains are the highlight of this movie?
Not really, because a lot of movies have really good villains, so go ahead.
I mean, the main characters are fun to watch, and it does seem like they're giving their best performance. But the freaking, just the professor, he's just so fucking, just the lines that they give him, and the shit that he does throughout the film. It's just not that engaging or entertaining at all until they go to Infant Island to ask Mothra and the twins for help. Until that point in the movie, it's just like they're literally just trains running around on a track doing the stereotypical shit that everyone expects out of a hero or a protagonist of a film. And even once they get back from Infant Island, they get back on that same track and they literally have to be given an objective, something to do during the final climax to give them an excuse to be on the island when Godzilla is defeated. So, I mean, did they focus all their energy on the monster action and just say, fuck the humans? Or was the human aspect of the film unfinished?
I would like to say the first option. Because that one actually seems a bit more likely.
Maybe. And unfortunately, the same is also true with Invasion of Astro Monster later. But other than that, though, I mean, I think that the villains of the film, they're not as good as Mr. Taco from the previous film, but they're, like, at least they look like they're enjoying their role in the film. And I mean, just the simple fact that these guys are, just the simple fact that the main antagonist himself is worried about money and nothing but money, that's an interesting idea, but what really kicks him for me, what really makes him kick for me, is the fact that this dude seems to actually panic when he starts to lose money, and he starts to actually seem like he's concerned about the real world ramifications of his deals going through and him not paying up. And he gets desperate, and I think that that's like where his character shines the most, because he literally gets into a fist fight with his financial advisor, and he gets killed. And then both of them get killed by Godzilla, which that was the one good deed that Godzilla did in this film. Side note. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't really think that the human aspect of this film stands up quite as strongly as King Kong versus Godzilla. I just happen to think that the human scenes... What?
Taco!
Yes. Mr. Taco! The parachute Batman from Japan.
The Chipotle man!
God damn it, no. And, yeah, like I was saying, I don't outright hate the human aspect of this film. It is good for what it is. I just felt they could have done a bit more with it. I just felt like they could have done... I felt like it could have been a lot better than it was.
The amount of how many clothing Godzilla got that day?
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, to be fair, he's been naked his whole life. Yeah, the spoiler alert... Even though this movie came out in 1964, get with the times, you stupid shits. Yeah. In this film, Godzilla is defeated when the Mothra twins, literally wrap him in silk. And under normal circumstances, I would say that, yeah, no, that shit's not gonna hold Godzilla. And to be fair, it doesn't. Godzilla's free in the next film. And, I mean, I would personally say that I find it reasonable that silk produced by a freaking deity is enough to restrain Godzilla for a short period of time. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with the way this film ended, especially with the ramifications that come after Godzilla's defeat at the hands of Mothra. Or, well, what the hell would you call Mothra's larva forms?
La baby!
I don't know. But yeah, Noah. What are your thoughts, as a whole on, like, this movie?
Well, generally, it is kind of a fun movie to watch, mainly after I don't know, an hour or so, because at the start it is kind of boring.
Yeah.
But throughout, once the action actually starts, it is quite entertaining.
It is.
So,
It very much is.
it is a good movie for its time, so.
Yeah. And with that being said, Noah, what audiences would you recommend watch this movie?
Honestly, this is actually not childish friendly as soon as when you get to the fight, fisticuffs fight. So I'd say at least around, probably the teenage area. They're
Yeah.
12 and above, because it actually does show blood in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend this movie for kids. Maybe if you have a censored version of the film that, it cuts out some of the more brutal parts. But overall, I would say that the people who should watch this movie are, obviously, one, Godzilla and Mothra fans, and two, fans of, honestly, science fiction, films and aspects of science fiction, because make no mistake, Mothra is a kaiju that has, magical abilities and, at least in the comics, she is capable of sorcery.
What is it, the Sorcerer Supreme of the Kaiju?
She might be, shit. And yeah, unfortunately, this movie did not perform as well as King Kong vs. Godzilla did at the box office, but, the filming aspect, involving finances wouldn't actually be that bad until the movie after next. And yeah, overall, I think Mothra vs. Godzilla not only was a very important film to the Godzilla franchise, what with, the future films that it inspires, I also genuinely think that it is one of the best in the Showa series. So yeah. That is Mothra vs. Godzilla for you guys. Noah, do you want to take this? Since I know you wanted to last week. Or, not last week, yesterday.
Let's see, how should I do this? How should I do this?
Yes, Noah, redeem yourself. Redeem yourself, my brother.
Hold on, I must not only stand up, but pick up the chair and say, King Ghidorah!
Oh, what the shit? Did you just fall?
No, I threw my chair.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm hold on.
Oh no.
Hold on. I gotta go get it back.
Did you just get the police called on you or something?
No, I have to go get my chair back. Oh god.
Oh, good God.
Back. There you go.
Alright. So yeah, guys. In case y'all didn't gather it by now, due to Noah's masterful little, bit there, next film we cover is going to introduce one of Godzilla's most popular and beloved villains of all time, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
Yay!
Alright, yeah. See y'all tomorrow with Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, and until then, Mothra vs. Godzilla. Kick-ass film, go watch it. It's pretty kick-ass.
Wait. I want to do one final thing.
Oh no.
Let me fix my vocals.
Oh god.
Sono Kino Sadame! Joe!
Okay. Alright, you satisfied, Noah?
Yes.
Alright, yep. See you tomorrow, ladies and gents.
Alright, y'all know the drill. Like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Y'all want more videos, right? More kick-ass shit? Well, good, because I want more views. Let's help each other on this.